Paul Nichols here, doing a quick troubleshooting video on ProPresenter and the iMac, trying to walk you through my process of trying to get the screens to work properly on ProPresenter. Just walking you through my thought process, how this thing is supposed to be set up, and if something doesn't work, these are some things you can try to get everything working. So this presupposes that you have turned everything on that needs to be turned on. I have another YouTube video that covers this process from beginning to end. That includes everything here in the booth that needs to be turned on, as well as the equipment in the media room. The media room equipment needs to be on for this to function properly. So I'm going to walk you through the signal chain of our ProPresenter and of our iMac, just so you can kind of understand. So the first thing I want to show you is in the system preferences of the iMac under displays. You've got a great little function called gather windows. And what that does is it goes and it finds the settings window for each screen that is attached to our Mac. So this is the built-in Retina display. That is the computer itself in front of you. The Epson PJ is the confidence monitor. And this PTVW is actually the monitor splitter, the signal splitter. So coming out of the back of this iMac into a converter to Cat5, we're sending the signal, the main output signal from this iMac into the media room, into a device that is splitting the signal between our two projectors as well as the A10 Mini Pro. So that signal is going to all those locations. Our projectors are set up in a daisy chain, so what comes to one of them comes to the other one. So all of that has to be turned on properly for this to display properly. So if you want to make sure that the iMac sees all of these inputs, if the iMac does not see all three of these inputs, if one of these is missing, check your connections, your physical connections in the back of the iMac. Make sure they're plugged in all the way. If you should see those things pop up immediately if they weren't connected. It's a good idea to either restart ProPresenter and even possibly shut down and reboot the iMac. Sometimes that can help as well with these sort of issues. If you don't see this issue and everything's plugged in properly, it could be because you don't have the media room stuff turned on, and so that splitter's not turned on, so that signal is not getting where it needs to go. So the first thing we have to make sure is that the iMac, that's what we're looking at, not ProPresenter, the iMac sees all the displays that we're trying to use. Once again, that's click the Apple icon, System Preferences, and then you would click Displays and then Gather Windows. And so we can see all of our windows. All the settings here should be right. Under the Epson J, you really shouldn't have to do anything. Under the PT, we need to make sure 720 is selected. Over here is a pretty useful function. You want to make sure Air Display is not showing and we're not using mirroring options. But under the Arrangement tab, you can see how ProPresenter sees the other screens spatially. And if you click on these, you'll get a little red box that'll pop up. So I'm clicking on this one, and you'll see the little red box pop up on this screen, I'm assuming with the screen capture. If I click on the one on the left, it's going to ping different screens that are on. It'll ping either the rear projection screen or the main monitors. So you can make sure that those are connected and that iMac sees them and is sending a signal. So once that's all good, if that's working, come inside ProPresenter and let's pretend like this isn't displaying like it should on the screens. We're having some sort of issue, some sort of problem displaying on our main screens. So my first thing I check after I make sure that the iMac sees the projectors is I come under Screens and I go to Configure Screens. Here is where we configure what information is sent to what screens. We have the main screens here. That's what you see hanging in the auditorium. Lower third graphics, that is our NDI. And down here is our stage screen, or what we call a confidence monitor. So if the main screens are not working, sometimes for whatever reason, it will show another projector it'll be this projector's name right here, but next to it, it'll say disconnected. So find it, click it, and click on the connected version of it, and it should pop up, and that should fix your issue. For some reasons, every once in a while it thinks that this projector's disconnected. I think it has to do with the order in which things are booted up. I am not sure why we keep getting this reoccurring error, but most of the times this is the fix, to come in here and to reconnect it using this. Every once in a while it might be in one of these little windows and you select it. It's not popping up now because we're not having that issue. Also here you will see the arrangement that I just showed you in the other screen, showing you that to the iMac, the confidence monitor is to the left and the main screens are to the right, and then obviously the iMac is in the middle. So this is our number one culprit, is this issue here, where sometimes it sees this as a disconnected screen. Lower third should always read ProPresenter NDI, and the stage screen should always read the Epson PJ. So it's telling us where to send that information. Those are my big fixes. Sometimes when you make a fix, you have to click on a slide to make the fix show, for it to start sending the data fresh with the new information. Sometimes a good clear all button is a useful function to get our palette cleansed for the content to show properly. Another issue why things might not be displaying are these buttons up here. These are master on-off switches for our screens. So if it's red, that screen is not on. And if I click it, it turns it on. If I click it, it turns it on. As you can tell, nothing changed here. What changed was the actual outputs in the room. When I click this button, the picture on the projector goes away. And when I click this, the picture on the confidence monitor projector goes away. So you need to make sure that those are green and displaying properly. And every once in a while, and I can't tell you why, but just making these fixes and maybe sometimes still not displaying properly, shut down ProPresenter and open it back up. And then sometimes it'll start displaying properly. And if that doesn't work, shut down the iMac all the way. Don't reboot it, shut it down all the way, and then boot it back up. And then a lot of times that's going to fix your issues. So those are our most common issues when it comes to getting the displays to show properly on Sunday mornings. There are other troubleshoots, but that is the most common ones that I covered in this video today.